Hey everybody, it is Jo. Welcome back to Trauma Talk. We're going to talk about something heavy today, at least really heavy for me. It's not like I talk about rainbows and butterflies on this channel all the time. It's called Trauma Talk, and so I usually talk about things that are pretty hard, but this is one that I am still actively working through and actively struggling with, and so this is a hard one for me. But you may have heard that Bill Cosby was found guilty of basically sexual assault and will be hopefully facing a very, very long time in prison. Very long time, I hope. And there's been a lot of conversation regarding that, but there's one question that's come up that really echoes in my own life, and I think echoes in a lot of people's lives who have been betrayed, often violently, by people that they loved or trusted or knew. And that's the question of how can you hold two things at the same time? How can you hold the good that someone did and the fact that they're monstrous? So Bill Cosby did incredible things for a ton of people. He and the show that he was a part of were instrumental, were a really big deal. Did so much in so many people's lives in such a good way. And other people could explain it better than I could, but I know that he had such an incredible impact on, I would say, hundreds of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of families, so many communities, right? So he did a lot of really good things. And then you have to hold in the other hand that this man was a horrible man, is a horrible man who made his career drugging and raping women. So are you supposed to discard all the good and just disqualify it because he's a horrible person? Or do you keep the good and separate it from the bad? Or do you, as some people are doing, say he did so much good it doesn't even matter that he's a horrible person, which don't do that. Please don't do that. But what this brings up in my own life is a situation which I've explained a little bit of before, but what happened last year, which is that I found out that my mentor and very good friend, whose name is Paul, I found out last year that he was actually a sex offender with 3 convictions of sex crimes in 3 different countries on 3 different women. That's convictions, so God knows how many charges there are, and God knows how screwed up of a person he actually is. And I had no idea. And this was a person who inserted himself into my life immediately after I was assaulted, who would meet with me and email me and allow me to be real and honest and vulnerable with him at a time where I could not do that with anyone. And I would meet with him for coffee and talk about real things, talk about questions I could not ask anyone else. He really knew how to get into my life. And he ran a support group for survivors of sexual assault in the church, which I was a part of for a year and a half. It was a really intense group that did a lot of good things in my life. And then he counseled my husband and I before we were married and actually performed our wedding ceremony. And all of this completely unbeknownst to me, that he was a freaking sex offender, which is like the one thing I was trying to get away from. And so this whole time I was trying to get away and work through being sexually assaulted by a pastor. I was meeting with someone who was essentially a pastor who was also a sex offender, which I had no idea of. And so I found out, obviously immediately cut contact, and I've been trying to deal with the aftermath ever since. So in my own life, I have to hold on one hand. So much of my healing is tied to him. So much of the things that I've worked through, he played a part in. On the other hand, what he did destroyed me. What he did was so re-traumatizing to me and just traumatizing to me. And I can never undo the fact that a sex offender married my husband and I. Even though we did actually redo it. Last summer we went to Indiana and my dear friend John remarried us, which was wonderful and awesome. But my initial feeling when I found all of this stuff out about Paul was I wanted to erase everything he had a part of. But I couldn't do that because so much of my healing was tied to it, right? And so I couldn't erase all the good. But he was so bad, I could not stand it. Like, it's almost like I'd rather go back to step one and be a complete wreck again and have no idea what to do with myself and be struggling and drowning again, rather than have this man have any fingerprints in my life. But I can't do that. And I think the hardest part was the fact that he really did help Brian and I work through some difficult issues in our relationship when we were still dating. That led to us having a stronger relationship, that led to us getting married. And I cannot discount that. I cannot cut that off. I cannot disconnect from that because it's our marriage. I'm so proud of our relationship. I think if you have been betrayed by someone you knew or loved, whether that is a best friend, a friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, a parent, a sibling, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, a coach, a teacher, or whatever category I missed, someone who you trusted in some way, if you have been violently betrayed by them, abused in any way, chances are there are also good things they did in your life, right? There are probably also good memories or things they helped you with or helped you work through. And sometimes that feels like the most twisted, disgusting, repulsive thing, at least to me. And that's one that like I said, I'm still trying to work through, because it seems impossible to hold two truths at the same time. That this person helped me a lot and is also one of the worst people I know and damaged me so much. How does your brain connect those two things, right? I don't have an answer for that. I'm still in process, but I think what I'm working on anyways is just choosing to take responsibility and control of the good. And what I mean by that is, if there was a positive thing that someone who was abusive did in my life, I'm going to choose what I want to take from that experience, and the rest is what it is. So in Paul's case, he really did help me with my relationship with Brian. I can't erase that. But it was actually my choice to invest in my relationship with my husband. It was Brian's choice to invest back in his relationship with his wife. That was our choice. Paul happened to help out, but we did the work. Paul was there to answer a lot of questions that I had. He was there to listen when I needed someone to listen. But it was my choice to choose to speak. It was my choice to tell my story. It was my choice to let someone in. I let the wrong person in because I did not know who he was. But it was a good choice to let someone in. That was not bad. Being vulnerable was not bad. Asking for help was not bad. It just happened to be that the person I was getting help from, puppies are barking, the person I was getting help from was a predatory person. And so if I can look at the things and the choices that I made and choose to take responsibility for the good things, like I just said, I chose to invest in my relationship. I chose to seek help. I chose to be vulnerable with someone I thought was safe. The dogs aren't making this easy. I'm sorry for the background noise. Then those are things that I can build off of, because those are not things that they did. Those are things that I did. And so that's what I'm focusing on. Not the role that they played, the role that I played, the things that I chose. Because I did not choose who they were. I did not choose what they did to me. The only thing I chose were my actions. And so when I'm looking at those good things in my life that they contributed to, and trying to hold the good and the horrendous in the same hand, which just doesn't work sometimes. I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to take power from my choices and say that was good. It was the wrong person to trust, or that was good, the wrong person to be vulnerable with. But it wasn't wrong to trust someone. It wasn't wrong to be vulnerable. It wasn't wrong to whatever. So that's how I'm trying to deal with it right now. I know that if you're watching this and you've been through something horrible from someone you loved, you've probably dealt with similar questions. And I would love to hear how you have worked through those questions, or are working through those questions, or if you've had those questions. I know that a lot of people are asking those questions when it comes to public figures who do horrible things, like Bill Cosby. You know, they contributed things to their lives. How do you deal with that? I think everyone has to find that answer for themselves, but like I said, that's how I'm dealing with my own situation, and I would really love to hear how you are dealing with yours. So please comment below, and maybe they never contribute anything good to your life, and maybe who hurt you is a stranger, which can absolutely be the case. But I'm just kind of talking about generalized situations and ones that are sometimes common and what my experience has been. But I am Joe Beckwith, and this is Trauma Talk. Thank you for listening to my channel and walking with me through a challenging subject, especially for me, because I'm still really heavy and I still have a really hard time with it. So you're awesome. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in my next video. I release a video every other day, so you will see one coming out the day after this, and I'm really excited for it. It's about dealing with PTSD in the work environment. This came from a question a lovely woman asked me in a message, so thank you so much for that. You know who you are. And I'm really excited to be releasing that video and answering that question, because I have had a lot of experience dealing with PTSD and panic attacks in work environments and work situations and how difficult that can be. So that's what's going to be coming out next. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already, if you're on YouTube, or like on Facebook, so you will not miss upcoming videos. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.